From the Global Newsroom in Toronto, News Hour with Leslie Roberts.
Oh, get off my property!
I'm leaving!
Okay, get off my property!
I'm leaving!
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
That file contains video images which appear to be those images which were previously reported in the press. I think it's fair to say that the mayor does appear in that video.
We get that flash down.
No reason to resign.
It's acceptable behavior for a mayor.
Can you lie to the people of Toronto?
How do you lie to the people of Toronto?
We have more now on our top story, one that has stunned the entire city tonight. Revelations police have retrieved a video allegedly showing the mayor smoking crack cocaine. It was uncovered during an extensive investigation by Toronto police with Rob Ford in a prominent role. Our Sean O'Shea walks us through part of that investigation, complete with surveillance photos.
He's one of Canada's most powerful politicians, but for more than 5 months, court documents show the mayor of Canada's biggest city has been a target of police surveillance. His relationship with Sandro Lisi, now facing extortion charges, documented in nearly 500 pages of filings. The two men spent a lot of time together. July 28th, police teams were watching Lisi and Ford separately. The mayor driving his Cadillac Escalade through the drive-in window of a McDonald's restaurant at Weston Road on Highway 401. The mayor orders food. Minutes later, he and Lisi are meeting behind Scarlett Heights Entrepreneurial School. The two men dump white garbage bags, which police collect. They find receipts and 2 empty bottles of vodka. Ford and Lisi are engrossed in conversation. Then, police watch and take pictures as Ford leaves the driver's seat and urinates among some trees. Another interaction, this one August 14th. According to police documents, the mayor was watching his son's soccer game. Ford and Lisi met for an hour at the field. At one point, Lisi gave Ford his cell phone to look at, and after a few seconds, the mayor handed it back. Surveillance reports say it was a heated exchange between the two men, with arms flailing and fingers pointing. A week later, August 21st, Ford, Lisi, and another man are being watched while they eat at the Steak Queen restaurant in Etobicoke. Police describe all three as under the influence of alcohol or drugs. The police surveillance report describes Ford disheveled with a large sweat stain circling his stomach, sweating profusely from his forehead. His eyes were squinting as he walked. He leaves with 3 food containers, but police say there were no indications he was impaired. With Ford at the wheel, a passenger stops to buy cigarettes at an Esso gas station, tries to buy zigzags, a kind of rolling paper. But the store doesn't sell them. The mayor and the other men stop at a parked minivan, retrieve a dark-colored sandwich bag, and minutes later, Ford is back home. Small snapshot of all the surveillance. Police tracking Lisi with GPS, pinging his cell phone, and what looks like multiple police teams following the mayor. The most damning discovery, though, that recovered computer hard drive that Chief Bill Blair says contains the video of the mayor that Ford has denied since day one. Leslie.
Thank you, Sean. All right, some insight into the investigation now. Dave Perry is a former Toronto cop, one of this country's premier investigators, now co-CEO of Investigative Solutions Network. Good to see you, Dave. Thanks for coming on. Question number 1. I heard this a lot today, actually. If police have the video, why aren't charges being laid against the mayor?
Well, we don't know what evidence that the police actually have to support perhaps a conviction for any kind of drug activity. And there's a long way between scandalous behavior, which we've all seen in these videos and other evidence that's been reported in the news today, and then laying an actual criminal charge that would be supported and perhaps end in a conviction in court. So there may be charges coming, who knows? But when you look at that video, it looks like he's smoking crack. That's not enough to charge somebody.
We know for in fact, and I've got the 400 pages right here of the investigation, it seems they threw everything at it, every possible tool, including a plane, surveillance cameras, hidden cameras, lots of man hours. How unusual is this, and why are they going to this extreme?
Well, it's not unusual, and if you look at this, that's quite a document of work that's been done, which is kind of standard in any major investigation. And these allegations involve the mayor of the largest city in Canada. So this is a major investigation just by the nature of the person that they're investigating.
So if there's any other citizen of this city, we wouldn't have seen it to this extent, you're saying?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I've seen investigations like this for any kind of a drug dealer or any other kind of an important investigation. But let's face it, we're investigating allegations that the mayor of the City of Toronto smoked crack cocaine and perhaps was involved in other illegal activity. So we ought to do our job right. And I'm more comforted by seeing this kind of effort than I would be if there was a lack of resources, which would then have questions about cover-up and all of those things attached to it. At least this shows me at a glance that the Toronto Police Service, and no surprise to me, did a full investigation into these allegations.
It's pretty thorough, Harry.
It's very thorough.
Okay, let's talk, if we can, about the bombshell of today. You know about this better than anyone in your years here in the force. Will you expect more bombshells going forward?
Nothing would surprise me in this case. This is a case that books are written about and movies are written about, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if there's a lot more to come as the investigation continues. Just because it's at this stage right now doesn't mean it's finished.
We heard the police chief drop the big bombshell. The court documents we knew were coming, but then the chief called this press conference and announced that yes, they do at least allegedly have the video and seen it. And so what didn't we hear from the police? Because he couldn't answer many questions because of the investigation. But as you sat back as someone who knows, reading between the lines, what can you tell us?
Well, I think the chief is in the most difficult position that he could possibly be. And I think he's done a very ethical and honorable job of getting this out to the public in the way that he did. But he has to be guarded. This matter's still before the courts. I doubt that the investigation is concluded. So what's to come in the future, who knows? And he's got to be very guarded in his communication. I think there's a lot more to come. I think we're going to hear and see a lot more about Mayor Ford than we already know.
Really? Okay, we should say at this point, of course, that all these allegations still unproven in a court of law.
They're unproven in a court of law, but when you look at it in its entirety, there's a lot of behavior there that makes you wonder.
All right. Dave Perry, thank you for your insight.
My pleasure.